What makes a suitable boy?
Feet on the ground, head in the dreams, kindness, and the ability to make you laugh.
You will marry a boy I choose.
I don't think I ever want to get married.
I'm Audrey Yap, anchor reporter for Variety.com. This is Variety's virtual studio at the Toronto International Film Festival. And joining me is Mira Nair, director of A Suitable Boy. Mira, thanks so much for hopping on.
Happy to be here. Namaste from New York City.
This is extraordinary circumstances. Maybe not quite the way you imagined promoting A Suitable Boy, I think.
Not quite. We have the most extraordinary actors and legends of Indian cinema on our screens in A Suitable Boy. And man, it would have been a great red carpet had we been walking those stairs. 105 extraordinary performers from the other side.
That is something that really stands out with this show. But let me go back to kind of the beginning. What made you want to sign on to this in the first place?
Oh, well, I would have invented the ink to sign on with it. It's a love story, man. This is a great seminal novel of our times, A Suitable Boy by Vikram Seth. He wrote it in 1993. I actually knew him a little while he was writing it, and I was seeing this portrait of India, the first like free India after its independence from the British in 1947. That is what A Suitable Boy is about, this sprawling, 1,300 page plus tome that is about four families inextricably woven into each other's lives 3 years after the independence from the British and the bloody partition that created India and Pakistan into two countries, and how the old friendships and the old being so deeply interwoven continues. At the heart of it is, of course, the story of a mother looking for a suitable boy for her unmarried daughter and crisscrossing pretty much across northern India. So it's a novel I have loved, and it's a novel that is really been inspiring me, and in fact even inspired in some way my early film Monsoon Wedding, which was kind of like a one family portrait of this sprawling saga that was in Suitable Boy. But anyway, so I have loved it, and when I heard 20 years later that it was being developed by the BBC, I immediately threw my sari in the ring and said, it can't be anyone else but me. And fortunately, they loved my work, and I was quickly directing it.
I love that you threw your sari in the ring.
Well, I don't really wear saris, but things that people think are saris.
The metaphorical sari, I suppose. I'm glad you brought up kind of the historical context that this show takes place in. It is such a crucial period in Indian history. So if you can tell me a little bit how that backdrop, just after partition, how that plays into the story.
Well, one of the prices of freedom from the British was this drawing of a line, literally the line of partition that divided northern India into Pakistan and India, encouraging that Muslims from India, which is the vastest, largest, second community in the country, go over to a state that was about their religion, Pakistan, Muslims for Pakistan, Hindus for India. And in this process, it was one of the largest massacres between Hindus and Muslims as they crossed that border. But our cultures have been syncretic and deeply intertwined, both in language and in music and in poetry and in clothing and all that for so many centuries, that it is impossible to extricate, But of course, this is that time, and this is that period when also India is planning for its first democratic election in 1952. And so as the country seeks to find a language of its own to be free, this young girl, Lata, this 20-year-old, also seeks a language for herself to be free and to find who she is and who in that time, in the 50s, as the mothers were always, look, who you should marry. And so it is that beautiful sort of spine of a much larger tale that we are seeking to tell in 6 hours in the Suitable Boy.
I guess some of the religious tensions that you explore in the show, I think anybody who is paying attention to politics, who is paying attention to what's going on in India right now, might see, I don't know if it's parallels, but it does a sense of history repeating itself a little bit. Was there that sense when you were making this?
This was very important, I think, to me and to Vikram, the author, who already was prescient enough to write it in his own novel in 1993, published, of this essential drama of a temple being built in front of mosques that had been there for centuries, and the tensions that arose from that, which is of course born out of Babri Masjid, what happened in actual life in India, when a temple, is just recently being inaugurated after the destruction of ancient mosque that was there in Ayodhya. It was in the story of A Suitable Boy, but for me it was very important to film, because it makes our film not just a period film, makes it a timely film in which not just can you relate to Lata and the relatable adolescent journeys through, finding who you are, but you understand that these terrible tensions that are now blazing in the country were planted then, the seeds were long ago, for both its timeliness and the fact that it was a mirror. It was important, to me, and it is in our story. What I tried to do is to find a balance, between that politic and the personal. And for me, the politics is certainly vital.
This cast, though, is groundbreaking. This is 110 actors of South Asian descent. Is there something different when you are working on a set that is mostly South Asian creatives or people who speak that kind of common cultural language?
Of course, many of my films are based in that environment, and the fullness with which we go for it, and we call it also jugaad. Jugaad means the spirit that can always make it work. Like any which way you put it together. Jugaad means to put it together. So that jugaad spirit is very alive and well in us all the time. And people do a lot of things, from great artistry, but also great emotion, great heart. I just said I want to shoot it entirely on location. There's no question that we would have to build any studios for this. And our actors are just the most talented, literally, that I know. That was the treat of it, although it took a year and a half to find Lata. So it takes its time, but I do love our cast and think that they do real justice to the nuance of Vikram's characters.
I won't give up until I found my Lata a suitable boy.
A Suitable Boy on BBC One and iPlayer.